All right, 7:12, welcome back. With family and friends gathering for Easter and Passover, many of us will have a lot of people in and out of the house, not to mention going in and out on a constant basis. And all of this can be a lot to handle for us, but more importantly, our pets, especially dogs. So what can you do to help ease their anxiety and keep them safe at the same time? Joining us this morning, Richard and Vicki Horowitz, dog behavior therapists and trainers with Barkbusters. And I should also mention Kit is here as well.
Absolutely.
We brought a third person today.
Good
yes.
morning.
Good morning, guys. So the first thing, why do our animals, especially the dogs, get so anxious over the holidays we see now?
When routines change, it affects our dogs. When we get anxious and excited about company coming, it affects our dogs. Dogs are very routine oriented, okay? So they like routine, they look to us for leadership.
And when that routine is thrown off, they feel uneasy. Kind of like just human beings, sometimes the same with us. So what are some signs that your dog would show that would indicate they have anxiety or they're kind of off?
So dogs' behavior will change and they get very excited. They will be jumpy. Sometimes we'll see dogs who start to jump a lot on guests. They really need clear rules and expectations before people come of what their expected behavior is. And that leadership helps. But otherwise you'll see jumping. They sometimes will get a little snappy if people get in their space because they're not quite sure what's happening. And they could steal things. They could steal food. They kind of forget their rules.
So stuff will just change. You'll know, as the owner, you would notice the change.
Yep.
All right, so what should people be doing prior to the guests arriving to help possibly alleviate some of this?
There's a couple things they can do. First of all, you can take your dog for a walk, which is fine, and that tires them out physically, but you also need to tire them out mentally. And that's just doing some simple exercises. Kit, come, sit. Good boy, come. And tire them out so that when people come, they're not as excited.
Mentally, they're kind of exhausted.
Tiring them.
Right.
That's
exactly.
the key.
Sit,
Right. Right. So you want to make them mentally tired. Then they become less reactive.
Got it.
And the other thing you want to do sometimes is you want to have them have a place to go. So if you know that your dog gets more stressed, then you want to have a safe place for them to go. Some people use their crates. Some people put them in different rooms. And some people will actually keep their dogs in another room as people are coming and there's a stream of people coming in their home. They might keep them in another room till everybody arrives. Once things settle and everybody's calm and adjusted, then bring the dog back into the picture.
Because I was just going to ask you that, it happens with us too at our house with our dog. You don't know, do you put the dog in a room somewhere or do you let the dog stay out by the door as people are coming in and ringing the doorbell? And what's the right thing to do?
You really should put them in a different room until everybody arrives, let everybody get settled, and then let the dog out.
Right.
And the other thing is, if your dog is very reactive to a doorbell, ask people to knock instead.
Got it.
Because the knocking is not quite gets the dog quite as excited as the doorbell.
And not high-pitched as the doorbell would be for their ears. So how should you be having your guests interact with dogs? Because let's face it, we have people over our house and not all of them are dog lovers. So what's the best way? Because you don't want to keep your dog, shoved in a room all night. That's not fair to them either. So what should people be doing?
So you should never walk up to a dog. This is a very hard concept for people. We always tell people, you stop, let the dog walk up to you.
Okay, that's important.
That's a very important thing. A dog needs its own space. If you see a dog settling on the floor somewhere and it's relaxing, leave it alone. If it goes off into a corner, it's probably going there to den itself. Let it have its own space.
If there are children coming, make sure they are supervised with the dog, because children don't always react properly. They run up to the dog, they're running around, it gets the dog anxious.
And it's not only normal, they'll lay on the dog, they'll pull the ear. I mean, it's innocent to them, but then the dog gets aggravated.
It gets reactive, exactly.
And don't feed. Do not feed a dog.
Do not feed,
because if their dog walks up to you and walks up to someone and they gives them food, who's to say it's not going to walk up to a child and just grab something out of their hand? So a dog's food should always come from its dog bowl, and it should never be given handheld.
Not to mention, like me, my dog has allergies, so I don't like anyone feeding her anything because if you don't know someone's dog well enough, don't be giving them food. Literally 30 seconds left. Some other things, if people are traveling for the holiday, Passover or Easter, what are some quick little tips they should keep in mind when traveling with the dog?
They should, if they're taking the dog in the car, back seat, don't let the dog hang its head out the window. Bring their crate or some favorite toys so that they feel comfortable.
And tether them in the car so they cannot jump from the front to the back seat. make sure that they're attached with a
All right.
seatbelt and put it through
I'm
there.
a little guilty of
and
that,
through there.
clearly.
Because it's also very distracting as you're driving if your dog is jumping from the front to back to pay attention.
Got it.
when
And
you're
always
traveling.
make sure too, and I tell my wife this all the time, have the leash in the back seat, because if you break down or something happens, you can't be on the side of a
That's
highway
correct.
with an animal
and
with no
that's why they
leash.
should be tethered.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
usually have the leash go through the seatbelt. That way they can move around in the back, but they can't jump to the front and back of the car.
All right, a lot of great information. We have to think of our four-legged friends. Thank you both for being here this
Thank
morning. We
you.
certainly
Thank you.
appreciate
Have a nice
it.
holiday.
Yes, you too as
Have a
well.
wonderful holiday.
And for more information, just go to our website, WTNH.com, click the On Air tab, and pull down to the Good Morning Connecticut weekend section.